Okay. Now I'm in my 60s and I've been working since the 70s. And some of the things I wish I would have known and practiced, which would have changed my whole life, you know, my whole financial life. I'd be retired in the place of my choosing had I done so. But being a teen, what is most important right now is building your foundation. You want the discipline. You want the discipline of savings. You want the discipline of being active. You want healthy, uh, healthy habits that are going to have a better quality of life. You want to have the discipline of savings, and you want to take the time to have financial literacy. Whether you go to college or whether you don't, whether you go to work, you're spending a lot of time and effort getting hold of the money that we call income. So therefore, if you learn to save, you learn to invest, it makes sense that you would take some extra time to educate yourself about financial literacy and make sure you do your due diligence and research your research. Not all things said are true. Not all things said are practical. Not all things said are going to be for you, even though they may work for somebody else. So just do the due diligence, learn about that. And then your mindset. That is so important no matter what you do. Uh, if you have the mindset, you're going to save no matter what. If you have the mindset, you're going to be retired. You know, have that goal, have that mindset, have the mindset of always moving forward. Now, a, there's some things that you need to be doing. So, of course, learn about investing, especially before you have the money to invest. You know, you just don't wake up one day and say, "Well, I'm going to invest." Uh, you you want to learn the lingo, you want to learn what drives the market, and you want to, you know, observe historic facts. You may follow the market. You may paper trade. You know, there's no risk in paper trading. Um, whatever whatever you can do to learn, that is fantastic. It will serve you well. Another thing you might do is to learn to price things in the amount of hours worked. For example, you want mm, one new laptop. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of varieties. You need to buy one that you can afford. You have to translate that into hours worked. So, are you going to spend a day's pay, a week's pay, a month's pay? And also learn to do stuff. It will save you money. Uh, general carpentry, car maintenance, etc. That will save you a lot of money. And you also want to build skills that are going to make you valuable, valuable in a job, valuable in a relationship. And the flip side of that is if you build skill sets that make you valuable and and you need to be humble too, but you also need to keep people that are you allow in your circle. They need to have something to bring to the table as well. Basically, you don't want s- vampires, financial or emotional vampires. It's fine to be able to pick up the tab every once in a while for your friend, but it's not okay to do it all the time. Okay. Um, People borrow money, don't pay it back. Da, da, da. They have no ambition to learn while you do. So you can't do the things that they do and do the things that you do. And don't let people drag you down. And on the same, you know, flip side of the coin again, you want to be valuable. You want to be able to contribute to relationships. Um, yourself, right? You need to come to this realization early that there's nobody coming to save you financially. This is going to be on you. Now, there will be mistakes, and that's fine. And most mistakes you can recover from. However, health may not be one of them. Learn to take care of your health. It's expensive if you don't, and the quality of life goes downhill very fast if you're sick. So this is this is important. Health over money. You want to choose your health for sure. And if you're lucky enough to live with your parents during your first job or your first few years, that's fantastic. For one, you might help them out, and if they don't want it, you may come up with some type of agreement that you pay rent to a savings account so that when you leave, you have that much money. And you need to know how to handle that money. You just don't, take tens of thousands of dollars and all one lump sum and like, oh boy, what am I going to buy? No, you need to build these habits early so when you do get out paying your bills, you understand what you're up against and you have a head start. And that'll put you ahead of way over 90% of most people. And you build your good habits. These are the things that are going to carry you through. If you build bad habits, bad things going to happen. And then you can also research cost living, realize that when it comes to your parents and you are not cheap. And so your parents spend a lot of money on you. Be a good child. Help out around the house. Be a blessing to your parents. It's not just about uh, your parents be a blessing to you because they really don't know you anything. It's learn to do affordable things for fun. If you live in the mountains, hike. If you live by the beach, go to the beach and hike. Buy a surfboard, whatever. The value of a surfboard, yeah, it does cost, but if you use it all the time, it is definitely cheap per day. Given the habit of paying yourself first. So when you get paid, automatically take that money towards your investments and savings first and spend what's ever left over. Now, if you want a guilt-free way to spend money on whatever you want, then you need to budget that. Let's say you have $50 a week to spend on yourself. Well, you don't have to spend that week. If you don't spend anything for a month, you have $200, which so you could kind of learn to spend wisely. You need to be disciplined, uh, practice delayed gratification. A lot of times, if you come to an item, well, I think we all buy items that sat on the shelf and was kind of a waste of money. It was a nice little toy, got tired of it, whatever. You kind of want to not do that. And if you wait, if you still want it, consider it. And if you can, buy it on sale. Let's be reasonable. Black Friday, you might find your item on sale for quite the discount. So if you're a little bit patient, you can make good. Now, we will get on to the stocks. Okay, so I visited several dollar cost average calculators. I like them, and they do have a good place. However, what I don't like is that you put your initial investment in and a monthly amount, and in 1976, about 10% of your pay was going to be about $39, and 10% of your whole pay would be 460. Now, I did put in 10% of a year's pay up front in January, but other than that, this is almost worst case scenario. In 1976, your minimum wage was $2.30 based on a 2,000-hour work week year. That's going to be $4,600. So that's how I came up with that amount. Now you keep in mind, 1978, minimum wage went up to 265. That price would be, $5,300. 1979, $2.90. $5,800 for a year. That's that minimum wage. Of course, most people made more back then, but I'm going by minimum wage, and it's going to be almost worst case scenario just to drive home the point. And it's historic fact here. If this is, this calculator is correct. So we'll start with Walmart. Okay. January of 1976, initial investment $460, $39 a month, and that never changes. Your portfolio value today would be $27.8 million dollars. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Okay. And that's a pretty good retirement by any means, just on 10% of minimum wage. And then I went PepsiCo. Well, not as good. Still $1.8 million, not bad. Keep in mind that these numbers would have changed and you could have diversified. Moving right along to McDonald's. So $2.8 million basically. That's not bad. Not bad at all. So if you were a McDonald's worker your whole life, you put in 10%, you'd have more than that. But I mean, I'm just saying what was possible for each and every American out there. The problem is that this wasn't really taught. I mean, it was mentioned, but there was a lot of bad feelings of the stock market crash in 1930s. People didn't understand. And a lot I found out when people don't understand something, sometimes they will make stuff up that sounds good, but just doesn't fly. Basically, uh, they're trying to have an answer when they don't have an answer and when they should be studying. And that goes for us too. Now we get to the S&P 500. Same scenario, however, you are really just going to get 1.229. Still not bad. So these are the things that could have happened. I left out things like Microsoft, Netscape, dot com uh, bubble. Well, um, investors who got out on time on these bubbles really did well, which is another 10% of income. And I gave you four different criteria, four different assets to invest in. There are thousands, oil, and then, of course, recently Bitcoin. And, if you follow Bitcoin at all, you see that traditionally after a bull run, there's 80% crash. And works great for those that actually sold near the top, bought near the bottom. Easier said than done, but however, concept is pretty simple. Please like and subscribe.